Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This is Christina. Today I'm going to be using the Star Bright stencil from Spellbinders along with some Paper Glaze from Picket Fence. Now this is the first time that I've actually tried out Paper Glaze. It's a product that's been out for a little while, well quite some time actually, I think a couple years. But I have a lot of like glitter pastes that I have used with stencils in the past, but I don't think I have any in my stash right now that don't have glitter in them. So these are really fun. They have almost like a metallic glossy texture once they're dry. And if you don't want the glossiness, they actually have a new product that's been out for this product actually is very new. It's called Paper Glaze Enhancer. I'm hoping to show you guys how to use that soon, but basically it is another medium that you can mix with this paper glaze and it makes it more of like a creamy matte texture. So here I am just spreading this, I think it's gold rose, I think that's what they call it, color all over the stencil. I'm using a palette knife from Picket Fence as well, and I'm just trying to get all those little areas on this star stencil filled in. And then once I'm done with that, then I'm scraping it off very evenly. I want to get a nice flat texture, trying to not lift the stencil too much. I'll scrape off the excess back to the jar, wipe off my palette knife immediately, and close up that jar. I'm then going to remove the stencil, and here we have our design. And by taping the stencil to the paper from the back, I got an edge-to-edge design. So I'm gonna let this dry. I did take my stencil to a sink and used a stiff cleaning brush to clean off that stencil, and it came off without much trouble. For any of the paper glaze that is still remaining on my surface here, I scraped it off with a palette knife once it was dry. So for this first card, I'm going to be using the You Are Simply the Best die set from Simon Says Stamp. I'm only going to be using the words, and I die cut that 4 times so that I could stack these die cuts all together for a really thick, substantial greeting on my card. So I did all of this die cutting and gluing it all together while the paper glaze stenciling was drying. It actually didn't need this much time to dry. This took quite some time to die cut all those pieces and glue them all together. But it was the perfect opportunity while that was drying. So after I had 4 of those all glued together, then I returned back to my stencil design, and you can see how beautiful that is with that shine. It almost looks like an embossing powder. It's really, really neat. I trimmed it down to 3.5 wide since my paper was already 5.5. By the way, this is some navy cardstock. I think it's called In the Navy, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But it's from Hero Arts. So I trimmed that down to 3.5 by 5.5 and then adhered that to the front of a 5x7 card base with some foam tape. Now this star stencil design kind of leaves the corners a little bit open, so I thought it'd be kind of a fun way to bring more white into the card design by adding some white faux stitching lines using a Jelly Roll pen. I then used my liquid glue that I used to layer all these die cuts together. I used that to adhere the greeting to the card, and that glue is from Honeybee. It's their precision glue. I stacked a bunch of acrylic blocks on top to hold that in place while it dried, and then I moved on to another card design. I was having so much fun using this paper glaze. I wanted to try another design. So now I'm using the I Like Small Dots stencil from Simon. And once again, I'm adhering the paper to the stencil from the back. And then I'm using 4 different colors of paper glaze this time. I thought it'd be kind of neat to see what would happen if I did a little bit of an abstract coloring of all these dots by applying the colors just in small amounts. I'm adding this green shade to the bottom corner and then also that top corner a little bit. I'll clean off my palette knife and then go in with this nice blue shade. And I'm not being absolutely careful. I don't want to fill in these dots completely. I like that kind of sketchy, dry, dragged look that comes with this. I think it's a really fun kind of grungy look. I'm going to do the purple now and kind of fill in some of those gaps. I'm saving the gold for last because I want to have the gold kind of glazing over these other colors, which Paper Glaze is an apt name for this product because it is very, very smooth and it does glaze over things. So I'm adding more purple up into that top corner, and if it looks like I'm picking up other colors when I do this, I'm making sure to wipe off my palette knife before I dip back into the jar. So I did that earlier, but now I'm just kind of spreading these colors out, getting a little bit of a mix, a really rough mix. And then I'm going to come in with that gold. Like I said, I saved the gold for last. I'm just putting that on, doing a really rough kind of application. This reminds me of icing a cake. And you know, have you ever seen those really abstract looking cakes where it's got kind of a rough brush texture on the outside? That's kind of what this looks like. I'm glazing that gold over these colors, and they're starting to dry. So as I go over it with the gold, it's not picking up much color when I do that. And I'm just dragging all these different areas, adding little bits of gold over the different dots. Just about done here. So I'm going to close up that jar, clean off my palette knife, and pull up the stencil. And of the two designs, I love this one so much. That purple with the gold and the teal just looks absolutely beautiful. So I set this aside to dry, probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and it was good to go. And then I created an A2 size card base. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's the exact size of my stenciled piece. And I adhered that down with some Tombow Extreme adhesive. To finish off this card, I used the Miss You die from Simon Says Stamp. And I did the same thing that I did on the previous card. I layered four of them together to create a nice, thick, substantial greeting, and then glued it directly onto the front of my card. So those are the two cards for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun stenciling with these Paper Glaze products. There is a whole rainbow of colors available now. I only have a few. I think I'm going to be ordering some more as soon as I share this video. Don't go buying all the colors now, y'all. I'm going to have to get some. I love these. They turned out so great. Thank you so much for joining me today. Just so you know, my usual live stream that happens on Fridays will actually be Friday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. I'm having some more construction on the craft room happening Friday during the day, and it would be a little bit too noisy to live stream at my usual time. So I'll see you Friday at 7 p.m.